Welcome to our selected highlights video for the Heritage August 17th and 18th Signature Illustration Art Auction, which features important paintings from many of the greatest artists across the entire range of illustration. Heritage's last auction, which took place in our new Beverly Hills office, set records for scores of artists, and the current sale promises more of the same, with a rich selection of eye-popping pulp and fantasy art from the John McLaughlin estate leading the way and complementing the ongoing treasure trove of masterpieces from the estate of Charles Martinetti. Book dealer and comic book aficionado John McLaughlin, whose holdings in pulp and fantasy art are legendary, amassed some of the rarest and finest examples of their kind. One look at the pulp magazine covers spanning the 1930s to the 1950s by highly acclaimed artists Norman Saunders, H.J. Ward, Margaret Brundage, and Frank R. Paul, to cite only 4 examples, will tell you all you need to know about the A-plus quality of art from the McLaughlin estate. Savvy pulp art collectors have been waiting for highlights from the collection to appear on the market, as pulp art truly does not get any better, more iconic, or more definitive of the time period than this. The August auction represents our strongest offering yet of not only pulp magazine art but also the growing collecting field of hard-boiled paperback cover art. Among the many paperback masterworks represented are 2 1950s covers by James Avati, including the great Louisville Saturday from 1958, Rudolph Belarski's Mail Ward Digest cover, and Robert McGinnis's So Rich, So Lovely, and So Dead from 1961, to highlight just a few examples. Selections from the epic Charles Martinetti estate continue, and as advanced collectors have rightly come to expect, the depth and quality of this legendary grouping are well represented. Martinetti co-wrote the seminal book on the glamour art field, The Great American Pinup, and works by many of the talents spotlighted in his monograph are offered here. These pinup legends include the great Gil Elvgren, represented by a number of highly sought-after paintings, including The Winner, A Fair Catch, a Brown and Bigelow calendar illustration from the peak year of 1957, Alberto Vargas, whose Varga Girl Esquire calendar illustration of 1946 is both a perfect encapsulation of his artistry and one of the nicest examples we've ever offered, and George Petty, whose Blue Kerchief Esquire calendar illustration from 1956 is also of impeccable quality. Other pinup masters spanning the early to late 20th century include Earl Moran, Rolf Armstrong, Patrick Nagel, and a major consignment of never-before-seen mid-century calendar art highlighted by an impressive selection by the rare and elusive artist Peter Darrow. From the realm of classic illustration, Heritage consigners are offering museum-worthy works by such Hall of Famers as J.C. Leyendecker, whose effervescent A Real Happy New Year features a classic image of his New Year's baby, one of his most famous and endearing creations, as well as major paintings by Dean Cornwell, Harold Anderson, Norman Rockwell, Haddon Sundblom, and Tom Lovell, among many others. In addition to our expected deep selection of masterpieces, of special note in this auction is the Art of Rock and Roll section, featuring the collection of Peter Golding, British fashion designer and musician. Golding has been collecting rock art from both sides of the Atlantic since the 1960s, and his collection forms the core of this important grouping. The counterculture of the post-World War II era is brilliantly illuminated in the revolutionary poster and album cover artworks by such visionaries as Rick Griffin, Stanley Mouse, Alton Kelly, and Gary Grimshaw in work they did for famed musicians like the Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, and many more. Heritage is by far the world's leading auction house for illustration art of all genres, and we've got all our bases covered this time, so please join us in person in Dallas or on ha.com August 17th and 18th for what promises to be another record-setting event.